Dave here, how are you? Today on the show we're going to have a bit of a look at some of the things to do with my bench. This is a guide rail support and you may or may not know how it works. I'll show you that. We'll fix up a 5/16 T-bolt to work in a dovetail slot, and we're going to have a look at this. Now this is a little hand plane, little block plane I should say, that I bought on the internet, made in China, and you can't tell me that that packaging does not look like Stanley packaging. Well, it's not, I'll tell you that now. Also during the week I purchased a new dog. Now it's not a pup, it's an older dog, and I will introduce people to him on the Patreon chat after the show. If you want to hang around or if you want to join me on Patreon, that's fine. There'll be a link in the description box down below. See you soon. Bye. Dave here. How are you? Dave here, how are you? Today is the 20th of February 2022. February, is that a word that sometimes you forget to put the first R in? I often pronounce it February, not February. And you'll hear in the background, this is my new mate who's decided to join me. I'll do a big introduction and explain how I got this little guy after the show on the Patreon only chat session. So if you want to join me for that, there's a link in the description box down the bottom. I hope everything's coming through. Let me see. AV, all good. Socials are all done. Thank you very much, Peter. Good morning to everyone that's come in on the chat. Wally, Derek, Mark, Dave, Matt, Mark, Michael, Nathaniel, Randy, Ron, Graeme. Graeme's going to catch the show later on tonight. Okay. All right. So today on the show, I'm a little bit excited. Around about 2 hours ago, I had no idea what was going to be on the show. For people that have joined me from watching Peter Millard, thank you very much, Peter, for inviting me on to one of your videos. I made a bit of a cameo appearance at the end of his MFT style benchtop. And we're going to actually be doing some stuff with mine as well. So I thought I'd just follow the theme along a little bit. Not as a competition, totally different. His is built into his workshop. This one is a totally transportable one. All right, Steve, John, David Rowlands, Pete Jensen, probably at work, won't see the whole show. Pam, hi Pam, how are you? All right, so on the show, cheap Chinese block plane. Should you buy it? Well, this is the one that I bought on eBay. It cost me $15 Australian. I was very curious as to the quality that came out. Now, I'm going to show you this thing and we're going to give the whetstone a try of sharpening it up and see if the blade's any good. To be honest, I only bought it for the blade because I thought I might make another wooden plane, a little block plane out of wood, obviously, if it's a wooden plane. So we'll see how that goes. It's only a very small blade. It's going to be very similar to sharpening a chisel. Tracksaw guide rail support. Now this guy here, for people that haven't seen my channel before or aren't too switched on as far as this kind of stuff's concerned, this is a guide rail support and also a hose guide. So the Festool tracksaw has a hose that follows along behind it, or a bag, or some people that don't really care, leave everything off and throw caution to the wind. I'm not one of them, because you can see by my workshop it's nice and clean. I'll take you through that, and because I've now started doing my dovetail version of my bench, which is the Mark III version, it needs to be able to connect to the bench via a T-bolt rather than going into a T-track that can now also slide into a dovetail. So we'll shape it up on the disc sander here as well during the show. Now the other thing, so I've just covered the other thing with that part there. And as I said before, welcome to all who found the channel through Peter Millard's latest video and Patreon meeting after the show to meet my new dog. And some people as well, if you're new to the channel, you'll wonder, well, what the hell is so important about a dog? Well, the reason this channel has so many views is because it had a massive boost in the arm from my previous dog, which was a pug. I gave him a bath, 5.5 million views. You can't buy that many views. Not that I try and buy views, but you know, it's a saying. All right, first thing we're going to do is have a look at the guide rail support. And if you want one, the plans for these things, plans for my benches, I think they also incorporate the plans for making this way. Good morning, Dean from the UK. Morning, Paul, Giles, Ian. Morning, Dave and Faithful. We're all here for the dogs. You don't care about woodworking. You want to see my new dog. He's 4.5 years old, I'll tell you that much. And he's extremely friendly. I was concerned. I bought him at sight. Well, I bought him unseen. I saw pictures of him, and I just thought, you know, he's for me. You can see him wandering around behind me, down there. He's very cute. He's got a mind of his own, though, I'll tell you that. Now, these things. There is the back part at the top, and underneath I put these little lines and marks to show you how to put it together. This is a section that's a hole for a T-bolt, I should say. And this part here, also another section for a T-bolt. They're very easy to assemble. Now that I've said that, I'm going to have to actually look at how it goes together. That goes on that. Let me see if it pushes in. Now it's had a little swell. I need to just touch that up, maybe with that hand plane. But that's how it goes. The A goes into there, and there and there. And then this part here goes on top, like that. It's very easy to put together. Now, with Baroness, they love each other. And I couldn't be happier. But all on the Patreon meeting. Okay, first thing we're going to do is go over here and sharpen, or not sharpen up, fix this up. Now this is a T-bolt. Obviously, this is a 5/16 T-bolt. And as it is, this section here is too wide to go into a dovetail, the style of dovetail which is 3/8 at the top, 1/2 inch at the bottom. It will not fit. It just misses out. So we need to chamfer these, and you can do it with a file, or you can do it with a grinder or with a disc sander. Now, you must hold on to it with pliers. This will get very, very hot. You must wear eye protection, and it's a good idea also for the ears. Now, how am I going to get 14 degrees on here? I've got a piece of plywood, took it over to my drop saw, set it at 14 degrees, and cut it. So I will take this over here and put it on this way. Now, I'd love to be able to show you how that's going to happen. So I'm going to put it on. Just watch the camera. I haven't got the other cameras set up down here because this was only going to be a very, very short part. But you can see that if it was square, it'd be out here. I'm going to turn it around to 14 degrees. Now I'm going to put it hard up against the sanding disc because I want the sandpaper to actually touch it. I don't want a gap on my table in front of the disc spinning like crazy to catch this and pull it down. So that's going to be a guide because I'm going to go square to the shaft of the bolt by a visual, and it's going to be so easy, and it's going to direct filings down. I'm going to use this style of a clamp, not one of my lever clamps. The reason I'm going to use this one is because the underside of my cast iron table on that machine has got webbing everywhere. So there's these holes, and I'm going to find a hole for this to go up inside. I can't use my lever clamp because it's a flat surface. I might get lucky, but you know, why risk it? I'll come back over this side, and I've got a little mate down here watching everything I'm doing, pushing it up against it, so I'm making sure that I've got the 14 degrees. And as soon as I turn the machine on, it's going to sand that little bit off. I can turn it by hand, hear it already touching it. The dog's watching intently. Unfortunately, I have no earmuffs for him, but I think he's deaf. Either that or he's giving me the paw saying, I don't want to come. I say, come on. No. All right, so this is going to make a little bit of noise, not too much. I'm going to do a quick read first here. Jim from Texas, g'day buddy. And Jim C found the channel via 10-minute woodshop, really liking what you've seen so far. Great. For people that have come in through the 10-minute workshop, I slow down a lot. This is typical of the live show. My purposed videos, I edit down all the waffle. But people come on this part of the show, or they come for these videos because it's a social event. You can all chat on the side. It's live, warts and all. If I make mistakes, you will see them. I'm not going to try and hide them. I'm like any other person out there. I make mistakes all over the place. Believe me, I make a lot of mistakes. But sometimes I have good ideas as well. So you might pick up an idea. Not the flavor for everyone though. So here we go. He's gone to sleep down there. Let's see how long he stays asleep for when I turn the machine on. All right, I'm not going to take too much off. Hey, you ready? He's watching. All right, so I'm on the side and I'm just going to hold it very, very carefully against that. Keeping it square. A little bit more. So I'm perpendicular to this piece of plywood coming across this way. Flip her over, let's have a look at the other side. Let's try that. Okay. Don't take it out of the pliers yet because you will burn yourself. I'm going to try it on the side, see how it goes. Absolutely perfect. Give me a second, I'm going to put it under the tap. That's a pretty easy solution, isn't it? I don't know if you'll be able to see the dovetail on it. Maybe. I'll show you down here. I'll go to Cargill. And for people who aren't aware what Cargill's all about, Carl bought me the camera that's directly above. Carl's just a viewer. He's a nice guy. He said, Dave, what kind of camera do you use? And I told him. Next thing you know, from America, this thing arrives. There it is. So here's the dovetail. This is a 14 degrees dovetail slot. And there is my 5/16 T-bolt. And it's getting a hold right at the bottom. It hasn't come up near the top to lose any or work on pulling the top off at all. And I can use that now to fasten any fixture that I want to where I used to have T-tracks. Now I still make these things with T-tracks for people that absolutely must have T-tracks. That's fine. How cool is that? There we go. There's the first thing knocked on the head. Planty 3125, good morning. Dean, I like the waffle and my dogs are selectively deaf as well. John Lowry, how are you, buddy? John likes to promote everyone putting their thumbs up. So if you want to do a thumbs up for me, that's fantastic as well. Let's go back to this camera. So that works very, very well. I'm really happy with that. Okay, where is he? He's over there at the door waiting to go out. He likes the dog door, but doesn't like the flap yet. So I've screwed the flap up out of the way so he can just look out there and see what's happening. But I think he'll come back. He's also been marking the place a lot. You know, new male dog. Not as bad as a tomcat, though. All right. No. Right, now, I'm going to use the bench instead of the standard way that I do it. So I'll just show people how it works. These things are the ones that I use. These are the Superdogs. And the reason I use these, if you've made your own bench and the holes are a little bit loose by any chance, this will accommodate the loose hole and you just tighten it up. It self-centers as it's compressing those, what are they, neoprene washers, the O-rings? These guys here, the red thing, orange things. Peter Parfitt designed these things. Now on my bench, I don't cut into the top. I don't care what other people do, I do not cut into the top of my bench. I cut off the edge. Now my benches are designed so that the top of my bench is 2 millimeters, maybe 3 millimeters taller than a Cis 1. What's a Cis 1? This is a Cis 1. This is a Festool Cistainer, and I normally have it sitting on the side on a table, and then when I cut along the side, the offcut drops onto a Cistainer. Mine are totally portable. As I said, you set them up on a dining room table, antique table, doesn't matter. They've got plenty of care built into these benches. You're not going to damage anything. Then sit a Cistainer on the table beside it, and away you go. Now, the same kind of thing will also happen as you're ripping, but you'd probably want to remove the apron on the front of my bench to be able to do the ripping. So today I'm going to show you how easy it is to rip with this thing. So on the end, I have a machined in. I do these on a CNC. They're very, very accurate. An end has got R for rip. These ones have got C and C for crosscut. Move this one down the other end. And there we go. I'll go to Carl Cam again so you can see it. I'll go to the large Carl Cam if it's there. Yep. All right. Which way have I got to move this? There. Now you can see dog here and a dog down here. They're off the main grid pattern. There's the grid here. These are 96 millimeter regular grid, 20 millimeter holes. Just checking he's still in here. No, outside again. All right. So once we've got those in position, I can then get this guy, and this is the track support that I was talking about. Good on you, Dean. Thank you for that. I put that through here. And then I can slide this into the dovetail on the apron. Now you're probably thinking, Dave, you just said take the apron off if you're doing it across the front. Well, yeah, my bad. Okay, so I'm going to put some dogs down the end that are low profile on the top so that my piece of board can go in here. Now I can get a piece of board in there. Let me see if I've got a tape measure on me. Not in there. I found one over here. This allows me to get a board that is just on 1 meter long, which is pretty cool. This bit of board that I've got here is 690. I write the size of the offcut, so when I put it in the rack, I know what it is straight away, so I can grab it. So we'll put that there. All I'm doing is doing a rip down the side here, so we can see it. And I'll get the guide rail for the saw, and I'll put my locks on. One in here. And one down the other end. These things you put in, and then that's it. Once you've tightened them up, you leave them alone. Okay. I'm doing that there, so I've got enough room for the saw to still hold on to the guide section, this top hat section of the thing. I'm going to give those a tighten up. I don't do these with knobs at this stage. The reason being, once you've set them, you don't need to use a screwdriver anymore. It's just a flat blade screwdriver. That's perfect. I'll slide the other one up to the other end, and these things wedge in. So once they're on, they're on. That's all there is to it. Now I can take that out and put it back on. And as they go in, they tighten themselves up. Now before I did that, I should have really put the support on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Just undo that. I'll let it hang out the other end a little bit. Like that. Bring this one up to here. That's the right height. Tightening it up. There you go. That's there. I'll bring this back a little bit so you can see it. There it is. So it's the same height. It's just a little bit lower than the guide rail, and that guides the hose. Dog's just walked back in again. I can see he's going to be a bit distracting. So I'll slide that back, put that one on there. Actually, I'll tighten this one first. You don't have to give it to it, just a little bit of a turn. Done. Okay, not going anywhere. The board isn't going anywhere underneath here because these cushion strips, these are Festool guide rail cushion strips, are holding onto the board. It's not going to go anywhere. It's held by those and also by those underneath here. And here's the big thing about my guide rail locks, Stanton guide rail locks. Not going to shake off. So many of the others, you see, fall off. And that was what ticked me off with them. I got the others, but I got rid of them. Or I don't use them, put it that way. Done. Okay, track saw. And like always, I do a reverse scribe cut to start. I do a reverse scribe cut that is 1 millimetre deep. So I'll set the saw to 1 millimetre on the guide rail. Actually, I'll go 2 millimetres on this particular one. And put my muffs on. It's not going to be terribly loud. I'll do the scribe cut to start, and then I'll come back the other way with the main camera at the front. Okay, here we go. Now watch this. I'm going all the way to the back here, and the rail didn't flip up at all. Very important. Just makes it a whole lot safer. And the Patreon cam. Okay, now this is 16 millimetres. I can go full depth. This isn't going to worry it. Battery saw. You watch. Okay, I'm down full depth. The reason I'm going full depth is because the steeper you can get that cut coming up from the underneath now, the cleaner the bottom of the cut's going to be. So it's pretty important. Now it's going to make a little bit of dust because it's just slightly outside. The cut's exposed at the beginning of the board. At the end of the board, it's going to be within the actual board itself, like the kerf is enclosed. Over here, it's exposed a little bit. All right, another bit of a noise again. Put this in here. It's pretty cool. You watch. Full depth, and it's sitting still, it hasn't moved, hasn't tipped up like this. There's this stuff here, that's because we're outside of the curve. Done. What do you think? I love it. Makes it so easy. All right, that will do that. And I think I just had a crack on my eye muffs. Well, that's okay. I was given a couple of spare lenses. Those have lasted 2 years. It's done well. Take that off. Again, not going anywhere. So I'm using them on all of them now. And there you go. It's come up well. All right, so that's that. Next thing on the list, and we're 25 past, is let's have a look at the hand plane. Just quickly reading. Okay, a quick drink. Sound still coming through all right? Greetings from Miami, Regenage. This is it. Now, to the naked eye, or to the novice, what a great little plane. It's yellow underneath, I don't know why, and then red on the top. Maybe the yellow is rust. I don't know. Can you see it? Here's the problem with this. Audio, all good. Sound is the fine. Excellent, excellent, excellent. A good hand plane, block plane or doesn't matter, the sole should be flat. It's called a plane. That's why it's not called a hump. It's called a plane for a good reason. You may or may not see there is light, and it's bad. Look at that. Can you see it? I don't know. Anyway, it's not very good. Put this here. I'm holding the plane still, and that's the amount of rock that I've got across the base. It's pressed metal. They can't really do much more than that. It's pressed metal. It's got little tabs pushed out of the sides to act as the blade retainer. You know, it's looking at it down there, you can see the blade, how it's coming out both sides. Either side, the blade is exposed. The middle, you can't see the blade. That's what it's like. Love the session with Peter Miller. We need more of that one. Wally from Michigan, yep. Now, it's got a nice little adjuster on it. It's very much like the Stanley styles. And that's the brand, I think, of the blade, Vonda. It's a Vonda. And there's the little pressed metal body. You know, for some people it might be fine. Out of this, I could use this, and I could use this. And I might do. This, I will throw away. Recycle bin. But I thought it was really, really cheeky for them to do their packaging that colour, that kind of a rectangle, and the same colours as Stanley do. This one is called Use Luck. USELUCK. Anyway, let's put it on here and we'll sharpen it. These are great. How easy. These are fantastic. All right, let's get the Triton and bring it over and we'll give it a drink. Which way are we going to go with it? Should I go that way or the other way? Sometimes I go this way with it. Direction of the wheel is going to be this way. No, I'm going to do the other way. I find it easier. So, we'll plug it in and give it a drink. Some water. We'll turn her on. These take a while. You put water in and the stone soaks it up. Just for people that haven't used one of these things, there is a water level on there and I'm at full at the moment and the stone will start sucking it all up. It's dropping quickly. You might be able to see the little line I've got right here. The water is now down to here and only just touching the water. The stone is only just touching the water. Here we go. Top her up again. And we'll watch the water going down. It's down to here already. Not as quick this time, but it is dropping as the stone just soaks up all that water. Many of us are married to a quilter, including Dave, Peter Miller, and myself. It's just taking a look at Peter's video on the wall quilt hang. Good for the brownie points. Sounds like I might do that, Mel. Thank you. Yes, my wife loves making quilts, especially for the family. Now that's a 3-litre jug, and it's nearly copped it all in there. So whilst that's happening, I'll take this off. I was wondering what that noise was. Sometimes I wonder. Now, the other thing you will find out that on the show, I tend to lose things, like I just lost that blade. I'm going to turn the wheel off. Now, how I set the wheel is I will be doing it this way round, because if you do it the other way round, this part is going to hold, it's going to bump into here, and it's going to push your blade away from the wheel. So you have to go with these two mounts to the outside. And we're going to square up the blade against the stop on this clamp here. So I'm going to slide that in there, tighten this, tighten the other side, of course. I'm going to put it in there to start. Do this one first, and then as you tighten the other knob up, it tends to act, has a lot more leverage to pull the clamp tight on it. See how it's closing down a little bit more on this side? So it doesn't wobble. And they've got all these kind of fancy jigs that you put against here and back against here to get a set angle. I'm not overly fussed with those. I normally eyeball it down the side, and I can see that the tip of the blade is still sitting up a little bit. So to counter that, there's two ways I could do it. I could undo these and pull this back, or I can rotate this to lift the arm up a little bit. So I'm just going to look down there. I find this is the absolute easiest way to do it until I'm there, which is right there. Push down on this in the center so it's not going anywhere, and then lock the other side as well. That stops the arm dropping as you apply a bit of pressure on this. All right, so here we go. I just slide it across the wheel slowly. Don't have to rush it. Just make sure that you wear the wheel evenly. And before we go too far, take it off and have a look. You can see the bottom of the blade is a little bit shiny. This is this part here, not the tip. So I'm just going to take it down until we get it across properly. I'm also going to check with my square that we're going to get a nice square finish. I'm going to have to muck around with that. That's a little bit of mucking around. Yeah, I'll do that. We'll take it out after I get the ground down, and then I can do a little bit of a final adjust. But that's looking pretty good. My micrometer eyes are having a look at it. Okay, back on again. So what's your preference? Do you prefer to use mechanical sharpening, or do you prefer to do it by hand? Do you prefer a whetstone, or do you prefer something like my Sorby Pro Edge over there? For speed and doing a lot, I'll use the Pro Edge. It is so quick, especially for shaping. These things are pretty slow as far as shaping is concerned. But the Pro Edge, I can throw 60 grit paper in it, and in a matter of seconds, I've got a new profile on the end of the blade. So for repairing stuff, it is so quick. And you find, because it's such a coarse grit on the paper, you're not having, it doesn't heat up. You're not stuffing the hardness of the metal. Now these things, not going to heat up either, but you know, it's not going to, so you're not going to stuff the metal, but they're just a long time. I know that they sell, I think Tormex sell a little arm that you can mount in front of a bench grinder, a conventional grinder, and that lets you do your shaping, and then you just, with the still on the same fitting, switch straight over onto your machine here. And away you go. Just do the final work. Now the reason I do it on this side and not on the other side is because the water is coming off the blade and going straight back down into here. If I had this on flipped around this way and down here, the water just goes all over the bench. Hey, that's coming up quite nicely because it's only a tiny blade. See that? Wally, Dave, after each use do you empty the water tank? Yes, I do, and I put a magnet underneath it because I don't want all of those iron filings that are coming off this to go down the sink and plug the S-bend. Now I could tip it out on the garden, that'd probably be good for the garden because all it is some abrasive like a garnet or sandstone of some sort, maybe a bit of diamond, I don't know, and iron filings. So that's not going to hurt the garden, I don't think. Let me know. Mark, my wife spends all day in a quilting hut. Well, I'm sure you can go and visit her, buddy. Does she lock you out? Kevin actually awake in the UK, so at last able to watch you live. Kevin, I know it's very early in the morning over there. You know, if you get insomnia, quickly just tune in. I'll put you to sleep, don't worry about that. Ash, speaking of family, how is your granddaughter going with her video series, Dave? Hey Ash, she's going great. The pictures and videos she's doing from around Australia are absolutely fantastic. It's called On the Warpath, W-A-U-G-H, path, and there's some amazing footage. Any opinion on Tormek sharpening tools, Swedish type? Yeah, the Tormek is the Rolls-Royce, like the BMW basically, of these kind of machines. I got the Triton because the company that I work for now and then part-time, they sell them, so I get a staff discount. And this one wasn't tracking very well. A lot of people had issues with the Tritons with the shaft or with the wheel. Now I fixed the wheel by putting a little bit of tape around the shaft and then tightening the wheel back on. Then I used a wheel dressing tool, which is a diamond plate on a stick, and I fixed this one. And you can see it's tracking so well. It is beautiful. There's no up and down on this. See that? My finger's on it. Whoop, careful. That would have been fun, wouldn't it? Who would have called the ambulance? The dog? I don't think so, he's too busy chewing. Would be, I prefer to do it by hand. Yep, Wally, another great idea. Thanks for the tip, not a problem. Lost Wits worked at a place with a similar machine to the Triton. People never emptied it after use and the stones sat in the water swelling up, not real fun. Hydrangeas would love it. Thanks for that, Derek. Yes, that's very important. So what I do is I empty it, so I use the magnet trick, and then I put the dish, the collection chamber, back under it. So any drips that come off the wheel aren't going to go all over my bench, they go into that, and you're done. I think that might be it. Yep, done. All right, so now I'll take it out of here and I'm going to finish it by hand. I'm going to check for square to start because it wasn't at the beginning. I'm going to bring it around so you can have a look. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to bring the square up slowly. No tricks, I'm not holding it out. I'm pretty happy with that. What do you reckon? It's a good machine, I like it. I like it, you know. People put, well, I can't really say that. People rubbish these things. I haven't got any reason to rubbish it at all. Does the job for me. Okay, I'll unplug that. I don't use that too much. I strop by hand. I'll just have to move this because the dog thinks the extension lead is looking pretty nice to chew. I'll move this over there on the kitchen sink so it doesn't go anywhere. I won't empty it right yet. I will drop. Oh, that's something I should really show you. This is a trick. It's not a trick. It's what you should do. Back again. When you're finished, what you can do is take it off and drop it down here and let the wheel drain into the bottom if you're concerned that it's going to drip everywhere. So when I take it over there now, I've got to be careful because I've disengaged it from the mounting. Look up here, out of the way. There we go. I'll let that sit there. And this guy out of the way. So we're going to do the rest of the stuff by hand sharpening. I've got to remember which drawer I've got this in. Here it is. So I have my hand sharpening gear in a plastic tub. Everything's in there. So I have a little rubber mat. These things are just these little rubber draw liners. I got this one from Aldi. I could just put it on the bench and be done with it. I'm going to move this along a little bit. Move the water out of the way. And I like to do it near the front of the bench. And there's a reason. So I use one of these things. This is a leather strop, fine leather on one side, coarse leather on this side. I put polish on here. I can use rouge, or now there's all different types of rouge available. Every now and then I'll use it wet and dry paper on glass as well. Okay, the rouge I have. This is Veritas's honing compound, not homing, honing compound. I could use that. There is a gold one here as well that comes with the people that make these. Or I can use Autosol, which is a metal paste polish. Now it's also a good idea to throw gloves on at this stage. You don't have to, but yeah, it's an idea. Because you start getting the polish all over your hands, and you know, if you've got to go out, then you've got to get the nail brush out. And I have mentioned before on the show, don't be tempted with these nitrile gloves to do this. Don't blow in them to expand them. You blow in there, you're going to exhale moisture, and it's going to go in there, and your fingers are going to stick inside the glove. Bad move. Just in dry, they'll let you, I think, get my fingers in the right spots there. Done. There we go. All right. Let's go with this one. I'll go with the Veritas honing compound this time. Also called rouge. Get it all over there. I'll go up to the other camera as well. Bring it forward. And I have a microfiber rag hanging around as well. Now, we'll have a little bit of a burr, and we want to just hone it. That's all there is to it. Hold it down. Don't push it forwards. Just pull it backwards. Keep it flat. Now, this is the part that I was curious about. I wanted to see whether I was going to get an edge along the top there, and it's not bad, except for it's kind of, you know how I said don't push it that way? Well, don't push it towards the blade, but you can turn it sideways and go backwards and forwards. Now, there's a couple of people on the web also, and I do it as well, will tell you just to pick the back up. They say put a steel ruler under there. Let me see if I've got a steel ruler. I do. So it's a metal rule you can put on the side, and that will elevate the back just a little bit. Now with a plain blade it doesn't matter. With a chisel that you want to use for paring, it does matter. Don't do it with that. So I can pull this. So that's concentrating all the effort to the front. Now, as I'm pulling it along, I'm making sure that I'm doing it like so, not like that, because I'll just start cutting into the leather. And that is bringing up a very, very nice edge for me. I'm putting my finger over to put the weight on there so that I'm not going to be I'm not going to be here for a month of Sundays, just one Sunday. I don't know if you can see, I'll try and get it to glisten. I don't know if it's going to do it. I can see it from here. All right, on this side, just push down on there and the blade pops up. See that? And that's the angle. There's no secret. So, now I've got these things. I could use this, but I'm not going to. If I was wanting to be super accurate and very precise, I would use that. And it does a great job. Okay. Now, if you don't want to use something like this, get yourself a piece of MDF, because it's very, very flat and it'll do a very similar job, and they're cheap. Another quick read. I used to sharpen my blades and chisels with stone completely underwater. Is that right, Woodby? Peter, I think I might have the direct line for Katoomba Ambo Station. Thanks for that, Peter. Lost bits. My TAFE had a water wheel that turned horizontally. It spun like a record player. Never seen another like it. Well, I have another one here, which is the Workshop, and I haven't used it yet. But I will. I'll get that out one day and I'm going to play with it. One of the great things about working for a company that sells machinery is that I get that discount and I can buy a little bit cheaper, not too much, but a little bit cheaper than most. And I do, because I just enjoy not being ignorant about things. I like to own stuff and use it at my own speed and pace and leisure, so then I can get a proper feeling for it. I'm doing that with Fusion 360 and I'm loving it. I'm having a ball. I'm going to switch the camera around. There we go. Absolutely loving it. I think that might be just about done. That's a keen edge. I don't know. Let's have a look. Get it up so it's going to... No, you're not going to see it. Believe me, it's looking good. We'll flip the thing over and we'll work on the back now, which is the finer leather. And I'm tipping it up ever so slightly to make allowance for what that ruler was doing. Don't do it with the chisel, remember. Okay. Regton, Tormek T8, Triton is sold out for a month. Triton works fine. You know, the Tormeks, if you're in there's a couple of different types of Tormeks. The T8 has got a 24-hour life cycle. You can turn it on and just leave it running all the time. Not a problem. Their T4, I think it is, has got a half an hour on, half an hour off. It's got a smaller wheel, it's cheaper obviously, but if you're running it in a workshop, you can't have it running 24 hours. It's 30 minutes on, leave it rest for 30 minutes and turn it back on again. John, it helps to show thanks, John. Yes, David, we're aware they're expensive. Looking at Dave, I wonder why I got the woodpecker sharpening system. An impulse buy. We all suffer from that. Don't worry about that, buddy. We all suffer from that. Now, this part I'm going to do, I've been doing this. I was taught by a tradesman as a 16-year-old kid, as an apprentice. This can cut you if you don't do it properly. Now, I hand strop my tools as well. So right at the end, I pull the blade down past my palm, flip it this way and then back up, and then slowly, slowly. Now, after a while, you get your speed up and you move your hand. And it works. It works. I'm curious to see if this is actually going to cut anything. I'm going to get a piece of paper. There we go. Moment of truth, guys. This may not cut. It might just be rubbish, but let's have a look. That works. That's the full length of the blade from start to finish. I'll start halfway through the blade. I'll turn the blade over, start halfway through. What do you think of that? Now, $15 has just bought me a very, very nice sharp blade. How long it lasts for, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to wear. And it got me the wedge. So I can make one of my little wooden hand planes, you know, like the little block planes and things. I've made them on the show before with an adjuster that locks it in position. All I need to do is with my wooden plane, is put a brass rod across it. I'll show, for people that haven't seen what I've done, I'll show you what I make. I'll show you a couple of different types. From one of my really, 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 really nice planes down to ones that I've made out of pallet wood. So this is my really, 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 really nice plane that I made. Now this has got the Veritas kit in it, which is the blade, the lateral adjustment lever, the pivot, and the screw, and a bit of brass rod. Now I didn't use their brass rod. I used a larger brass rod. It was 8 millimeters. Then this one here, again, brass rod, standard wedge, and I've also done slots in the side so that I have lateral adjustment with the blade and a small hammer to get this part here flat, and it works. And then I got this little guy here, which is a little block plane that I made. Again, all of this out of pallet wood. You can see the nails that I filled up with epoxy. Went right through the wood. So that's what this is destined for, one of these little guys. Why? Well, why not? Because I enjoy it. Don't you guys enjoy just hanging out, playing in your shed, making little things? And when they work, and they work nicely like that will, then it's all worthwhile, I think. All right, let me have a bit of a read. Ash, when you say fine leather, what does that mean? Is it thinner or a different type of leather? Okay, so it's not coarse. I think this is basically cowhide, I would say. And you know what? I'm just wondering whether cowhide one side and they glue it on the other side to give you the other side. But I think this is more along a kid leather. This might be another animal. I would say this is cow, steer, whatever. And this side, I don't know. He's getting a bit anxious. He's been very good. The dog's just been fantastic. You can see him down here. He's going to attack the piece of rope that's on the bottom of the roller door. You've got a roller door that goes up too tall and a little bit of rope hanging from it so you can get hold of it, because I'm only I was going to say something, a shorty. Let me have a look. I'm going to check my run sheet, see what we got next. For people that haven't watched the show before, do you enjoy this kind of stuff? You know, I waffle on a bit, but I try and bring things to the show that would interest you. You know, if you're in a workshop on your own and you've been playing around with ideas and you thought, oh, that might work. I wonder. Well, sometimes if you want to, you can ask me and I can do something on the show. And if you've got a project that you're doing, please send photos in, because I love to have a viewers segment, so where we'll throw up some stuff. David Rowlands was the last one, and he recycled a beautiful old carpenter's toolbox. It was his grandfather's, or his wife's grandfather's toolbox from when he was an apprentice at the railways. So things like that, I love to see it. I love to see, it doesn't matter what you've cobbled together. If it's from you and you are proud of what you've done, doesn't matter if it's entry or whether you're a professional. I would love to see it all. Reading down here, very, very late today. Looks like I will watch later tonight. Weather was too good to not do some garden maintenance. Kevin, Ron, good night. We'll catch up later. All good. Okay, so next week on the show, I've decided that I'm going to make a dog water and food station for this guy, because with the water, first thing he does is puts his paw in it, starts dragging it all over the place. I don't know why. I had a bucket of water outside for him. I jumped on the mower and started mowing the lawns. Next thing, he tipped the water out and just stared at me. I would have thought, seeing he came from a place that had 20 acres, they would have had mowers there. Maybe they're this kind of a mower, cow. All right, let me have a look down here. Jim, first time seeing you live, really enjoying it. The accent isn't an issue either. I don't have an accent. This is normal speak. Everyone else has got the accent. Peter, Kate will have a chat on Wednesday. Excellent. Ian, the dovetail, T-bolt, most interesting. All right, dog's starting to howl. I'm going to have to go and get him for the Patreon show. Thanks everyone for watching. See you next week. If you like the show, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Why not? Doesn't take much. Doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. And you'll get a, don't forget to ring the bell. You'll get a little icon or a little email or what have you to let you know when I release another video. And remember, the show isn't the only thing I do. I also, every now and then, I'll do a specific video on something. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching, and let me see if we can do this. I'll say thank you to all my patrons. Now, I have different levels of patronage. These guys get their name read out on the show when I remember. So it's Johannes, Mohr, John Parra, Vincent Ngian, Peter Woolworth, Father Brett Guthrie, Mike Deam, Wayne Cargill, Mr. Blue Eyes, John Peckham, Graeme Bland, Russell Hibbs, and also now welcoming Seamus. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and I shall see you next week. Bye.